You know, there is a story in the Indian folklore where Krishna, who is an incarnation of the god Vishnu, as a small child, takes some stones into his mouth. It's that age when the children take everything and they put it in their mouth. So sometimes he climbs into the cupboard and takes butter into his mouth, and sometimes he's running on the ground and he puts earth into his mouth. So there's a kind of picture of his mother opening wide his mouth to get the dirt out. And then she's looking into this mouth, and then she's really seeing into another dimension. Suddenly a whole other dimension is revealed to her. And this is a little bit like the story of Alice in Wonderland, where she's chasing the rabbit and the rabbit is going into the tree hole. So she's staring down into the tree hole and she's pulled down. And when she's pulled down, actually she's pulled into another dimension of time and space, and she sees reality in a totally different way. So I think this happens in yoga, and it can happen to us when we least expect it. So it can happen to us when we're sitting and we're having all these stupid thoughts and we're bored and our knees hurting, and suddenly our body feels different, it's very light. Or suddenly we find ourselves focused on the tip of our nose, and we're so focused we are like a drop of water on an ice pinnacle or something. Or suddenly we're doing asanas and the whole world disappears. Or suddenly we're reading a spiritual text because we read every day a bit, or because we're in a retreat. And it opens to us a whole way of looking and understanding. And that's why I think the texts are important. Not because we have to become professors of Patanjali Yoga Sutra, and we have to, because we're yoga teachers, be able to recite some sutras off by heart, although that is nice. It is nice to know. But it's really because it's another way to open up to this other way of seeing, which is yoga. And this other way of seeing, we want to create space for it in our life. So the practice we do each day is what creates this space and time where we have that possibility of moving back into this very unique way of seeing and being and moving. So in a way, that text is not different from the body, it's not different from pranayama, it's the same. It's a text for looking more clearly at this wondrous universe. Because I study every morning, so my rhythm is that I like to open the morning with a bit of study. So first I study the newspapers, I see that the world is still standing on its head, and then I take a text before I begin practice. And many times one sentence or one word will catch my eye or my imagination and will help me then in my sitting to move in a certain direction. And I think that's the meaning of texts in our tradition, that they kind of pull us towards ourself in the sense of Atman, Brahman, help us move deeper. We don't have to become pundits, or we don't have to become experts at Indian philosophy just because yoga comes from there. We can use other texts. We can take Christian texts and Sufi texts and perhaps other texts, if they bring us to that moment, or if they help us open something up.